Let me ask you a question. What determines the way that you sound? What makes you sound like you? Broadly speaking, influences on a voice can fall into 3 different categories. They are physical, cultural, and environmental. Let's talk about physical first. Physically, the size and the shape of your vocal tract shapes your voice, but not as much as you may think. Just like any other part of the body, when we focus on a muscle or a structure and we really work on it, it becomes stronger. Now, up until this point, you've been doing that unconsciously, just as you talk every day. But through voice transition, you're bringing conscious awareness to what muscles actually control your voice, to how you've previously been using them and reinforcing those muscles, and then exploring what your voice can sound like if you focus on engaging them differently. But just like building muscle strength anywhere else in your body, it takes commitment, time, and repetition. So yes, your voice is affected by the size and the shape of the muscles and structures of your vocal tract, but they are manipulable and changeable to a large degree. So outside of physical influences on the voice, there are also cultural and environmental changes as well. It's probably not surprising that culture can have a very large impact on the voice, from your rate of speech to how much intonation or musicality is in your voice. Even your pitch and resonance are influenced by your culture. How close you stand to someone when you speak, how much eye contact you make, your accent, your hand movements. Even the words that you choose are influenced by your culture. Now, environmental influences on your voice are vast as well. Have you ever met someone who lived abroad for a year, or moved to the South and then acquired a slight accent? Or find yourself using similar words and phrases to your friends or your loved ones that you spend a lot of time around? That is one specific type of environmental influence on the voice. And it's pretty transient, meaning it can change often. But there's also some deep-rooted familial influences on your voice that are typically unexamined. Why does this matter? Well, to really choose the parts of your identity that you want to carry through to your transitioned voice, you have to examine what created your voice to begin with and decide which messages and influences that you want to leave behind and which ones you want to carry into the future. Now, that process starts with reflection. Reflecting on how your history has influenced your voice, what messages about how you should be and exist in the world have been told to you, and who you hear in your voice when you speak. For example, for me, I can pinpoint really specific influences that shine through in my voice today. When I speak, I hear the strength and assertiveness of my mother, often the dry wit or inappropriate humor of my father, and when I go home for the holidays, I'm often possessed by the whiny 12-year-old voice that comes from fighting with an older brother. Now, my voice is not only influenced by who I was raised with, but also the messages that I was told about how I should exist and express myself in the world. I have often been told that I talk too fast, that I'm too loud, that I talk too often, or that I need to be sweeter, or smile more, or not take up as much space in the world. So, I encourage you to examine the messages that you've been told about how you should sound as you grew up. By doing that, you can then look forward and explore how you want to express your identity through your voice. For example, when I'm working, parts of my identity I'd like to communicate are honesty, openness, and knowledge. For me, that translates to a warmer tone, very little breathiness, and undeniable assertiveness. While at home and with friends, I communicate with a little bit more crass humor, some playfulness, and I enjoy having deep conversations. Now for my voice, that translates into being a little lighter, a little brighter, maybe more melodical, and maybe having some flexibility so I can be quieter or speak with less volume as needed. So the goal for you in exploring your past and your future voice is to identify what influences have made your voice, which of those influences you'd like to leave in the past, and what parts of your identity you'd like to step into moving forward. Now, if you want to translate those identity characteristics into actual voice qualities that you can identify and then change, this is exactly what we do in Undead Voice Lab. In fact, this very talk that you just listened to is directly pulled from one of the voice transition courses that make up the curriculum of Undead Voice Lab. I would love to work with you through this process and help you mold and shape and choose how your voice presents. And I encourage you, if you're ready to start or continue your voice journey, to schedule a free consult call with me so we can discuss whether Undead Voice Lab would be a good fit for you. You can do that by going to undeadvoice.com/contact and clicking on the link to schedule a sync. I can't wait to meet you. Bye.